Hello and welcome to Slamfire Radio. This is episode 362 for July 9th. Am I hosting again?
You are now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah. I'm one of your hosts, Adriel.
I'm another one of your hosts. I'm Kelly.
I just automatically, it's like, oh yeah, let's do the thing. It's like, oh, this is the third time in a row I'm doing this.
Meh. I'm next week.
Yeah. Okay.
I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's July.
And
it's summery. We're wearing very summerish clothes. Mm-hmm.
So this is it was originally supposed to be our, can I say it? I can say it, can I?
Yeah.
Our Boogaloo episode, because everybody on Facebook was talking about Boogaloo and things getting deleted. So we're here in our Hawaiian shirts, our one-shot tactical hat here, because it's Boogaloo as well. And I have some moonshine here. What are you drinking over there, Adriel?
I was on some very nice Copper Moon wine out of a box. And I am now on whatever Superstore calls whiskey. They sell it in big plastic jugs. That's what I'm on now. I'm drinking out of the wine glass because I'm not getting another glass.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very high class of you. Jug whiskey.
That's what people generally say when they meet me. It's like, wow, you are one classy dude.
You're one classy dude.
This screams class. What you're doing here?
He burps. Okay.
All right. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now, they have the Ruger Precision Rimfire 22 on sale for $699, which is actually a pretty good deal. So if you've looked at the Ruger Precision, it's like the cheapest bolt action rifle you can get in a precision chassis, like aluminum and all that kind of jazz. This is the 22 version. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to the Ruger Precision rifle. You can even mod the bolt so that you run the bolt fully, like you would on the full size version.
Yep.
Just with a 22, or you can run it short stroke, whatever you want. And it's $699.
Yeah.
Now there are some things on it that aren't the same as the big boy version. Like there's some things that aren't aluminum, where they're plastic on the rimfire version. But they're really cool. My buddy has one of these things, and it is like one of the cooler 22s. And now that more 22 precision competitions are coming into play, like ORPS is all across the country, CRPS is a thing. Definitely an option for that. Definitely an option.
Yeah, they're really fun to shoot. The one that I shot, we switched out the chassis for an MDT chassis, so it made it a little heavier. Really nice rifle. Yeah, I love it, by the way. Just love it.
Yeah, really cool. And if you want to like train on something cheap to shoot for your PRS rifle, this is definitely one of those options.
Good version.
Yeah. And lots of adjustments on them. Like that, one of the things I like about a lot of those PRS rifles is they're super adjustable. Adjust the length of pull and the comb, and you can adjust the back, but you could put it sideways so it goes there. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this one, you can pretty much do anything and everything with that.
I don't know why they don't do that with more rifles. Like, who has a straight, like your arm here is not really straight. It's always like a little bit angled, right?
Yep.
Why don't they just angle all of them? I guess cost. Just make it straight. Oh, lefties. You can have a lefty shoot one that's angled like that, because you put it over here and it would really hurt. Not on a 22, but like on any other rifle, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to actually have it fitted as well. If it's angled, it's just angled this way. It's not this way.
No, what I'm saying is, why don't they just do that like for all the rifles? Like, rather than making them straight, why wouldn't they like twist it a little bit at the butt for all of them?
Oh.
And the reason is like, well, as soon as you go on the left hand, it's like all of a sudden you're in Pain City.
Yeah, no, I thought you were meant like angle up or down as opposed to left or right. Okay.
No, yeah, this way.
Okay, so why don't you just put it on a tilt?
Well, yeah, that costs though. I get why they don't do that. I get why no one, like, where a few people put a tilt on there, and that's like a premium.
Okay.
Premium
so all of the manufacturers that listen to Slamfire Radio, not a lot of them. Anyways, but if
don't
you
listen
guys
to us, don't listen. We don't really know what we're talking about.
Come on, it's like that Homer mobile. Remember, he built that car.
That's what we would build, the Homer mobile.
This is the Homer rifle with
so
14 what was it? The drink cup
Glass dome
holders
over the top so you can see all around. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had cup holders
Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like our rifle. Cup
Yeah.
holders everywhere.
Yeah.
Can you put a cup holder in a rifle? I don't know.
Yeah, I got a 3D printer. I can put anything I
You
want.
can do anything you want with the 3D printer. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can make your own rifle apparently too.
Mm-hmm.
No? Yes. We won't talk about
Yes,
that on Slamfire Radio
you
publicly.
could. You could. I have not, and I have no plans to, but you
Okay.
could. I'm gonna do my stuff just because my stuff is real easy and
Okay.
short.
Okay.
I got my WK-180. Okay, so
Yeah.
mounts for the W here. I'm just gonna go like this and pin video, I guess. I don't know. This was the mount that was on my WK. Now
Okay.
the issue, I really like this mount. This is the one that comes with the Aimpoint Pro. It's got like
Yep.
a quick disconnect, like knobby thing. Turn it, click, 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 and your
You're
red dot's
good.
on. And I've taken this thing off, put it on another rifle, shot with that rifle, didn't need to adjust it, brought it back to one other rifle, didn't need to adjust it. Like it locks in really nicely. It this knob is big, and it was actually hitting the side of my rifle right there, and it
Oh, I
wasn't
see. Yeah.
locking in properly because this pick rail is it's not pronounced enough, which I'm glad they didn't make it pronounced because it would raise it up even higher off the shelf there.
Yeah.
So
So you
long
put an
story short,
offset on it.
couldn't use this one, but it's just a 30 millimeter tube, so I just opted to use one of these Nikon P series ones, and I used that on my rifle, and I've got it
Nice.
quite far forward. This is still on the receiver, but it's right at the front edge of it, and the reason why I have it there is because it doesn't matter what distance your red dot is, and the further out it is, the more you can see
The
around.
clear.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why it looks a little bit funny because it's so far forward, but that is for a reason, and that's really for shooting 3-gun. I am looking at my target, shooting, but really like once I'm done shooting that one, I'm transitioning to my other one, and having that red dot way up front there means that I've got lots of space to see my other targets.
Yeah. You can transition.
The other thing that was interesting is that by going to this mount, I lost 100 grams because this is chunky. This is a chunky piece of aluminum here, and this is not. Like I probably couldn't abuse this as much and rely on it to hold zero like that other mount would. But boy, 100 grams is a lot. That's a lot to lose on a mount.
Yeah. I'm thinking that you need to toss that out a little bit. So go and do some shooting, throw it around a bit, dump it into a barrel, take it out, and see if you still hold your zero.
Dump it into a dump sled or something like that, like hit it on the side kind of a thing. See what it'll do. I think it's going to be fine. Like it's still a substantial piece of aluminum that's clamping down on there. But I'll try it. Yeah.
Cool.
I've got a while before my next 3-gun match just because I'm mostly doing maple seeds, but I think that that'll work. Yeah, anyways, this is going to be my not maple seed rifle.
Sure it is.
But yeah, I think that's going to be what I'm going to be using for 3-gun. I put up a video on these cross mags.
Yeah, how do you like them? I haven't seen it yet.
They're good. Like when they first announced them, I was like, oh man, like Canadian manufacturer, they're probably going to need a couple of revisions before they get it good. But they didn't do it like that. They just took a lot of time and they did it right the first time. And I mean, like that there's some manufacturers that do that don't release until they like absolutely get it 100%. They're just really rare. And I would say these guys got it right the first time. Yeah. So I'm gonna be using those for 3-gun.
Coolio.
Put up that video, and then I'm packing up for Maple Seed. I'm gonna head out to Lloydminster, Alberta, and go.
Is that this weekend?
Seed. That is this weekend, and then I have another Maple Seed the weekend after. And by August, I think I have 3 of the 4 weekends or more.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, almost all the weekends. Yeah. But I'm gonna try to get some camping in there and try to get some like, hey, I know you want to go to middle of nowhere Alberta and maybe go camping or something like that. I need to do a Maple Seed one of the days.
The boys, the boys need to go back to the Tyrrell Museum. So, right?
Every year, I guess.
Every year you have to go back. Go
Well,
and
we're probably not going to go to the museum with COVID and that kind of thing, but we will
no, that's
go
true.
to we will go camping and go on the trails. The
Hey,
trails there are really nice.
did they try out the coal museum?
They liked it though. I liked it too.
Okay.
I don't know what happened with you guys took the crappy tour. We took
Oh,
the better tour. We
we took
liked the
the
camping.
unmentionables.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
no, it wasn't that great. We didn't even get to go in.
we had like some old miner who like actually was a miner in that mine and had all these like stories about
Holy crap.
ponies. Yeah, it was awesome. So you guys
How old was he?
like 80 something, and he was a tour. He was like directing the tour. He was
Those
awesome.
are the best tours,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. This guy was
Yeah.
actually this is a real coal miner who was actually in this stupid little mine,
Trevor,
not like
yeah.
automation everywhere. It's like, no, this guy moved ponies in a mine. This is some old timey shit.
Trevor was so upset. We had a millennial, she was taking us around. It was the unmentionables. There was no really unmentionables about it at all.
Mm.
So it was kind of like, he's going, I want to go in the
If there's
mine.
no Roman sword at the bottom of this mine, if there's no treasure pit, not interested.
Not interested. Who died?
Yeah. Oh, that's boring. They died
Yeah.
for real. There's no mystery around this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
packed
well.
up from Maple Seed. I think I might camp out there. I've got like a bunch of ultralight camping gear that I kind of want to like test out. Like I've got
Hmm.
a sleeping bag. It's actually a quilt. It's not a sleeping bag. It just goes over the top because your sleeping pad is like a high R value. Like you don't need any bag underneath you. You're just going to compress that anyways. So it
Yeah.
just goes over the top, and it packs down into a pack this big. And what else I got? Like some fancy. I'm gonna take like freeze dried food and like rehydrate and boil and do all that kind of stuff.
You do know that we probably would pay for a room and a meal for
And
you,
I'm
right?
driving my minivan, and I could probably just put an air mattress in the back of it because I have the
Oh,
seats taken out. It is like as big as a pickup truck. I
okay.
could just put an air mattress in the back and sleep in there.
That's true.
But I want to test out my equipment. I want to test out
Okay.
like my camping
All
stuff,
right.
like eat food out of a bag and
It's like you know what? After 3 years of that, it's no longer,
oh, I
the
wouldn't.
shine's worn off of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
Uh,
to do this if I was like if I was in the army or something like that. I was like, I do not want to go camping. But
you- if
I'm
you're in
not in
the
the army.
army,
I
it's not camping.
yeah, yeah. I would not want to go camping if I was in the army. I would probably just be like, nope, hotel every time. Yeah,
You'd be in the Air
Vegas. Yeah,
Force then.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, anybody
Uh,
listening who is Air Force, Tim, yeah, Crosno,
mm-hmm,
he's Air Force.
mm,
Just saying.
yeah,
He likes
but
his coffee.
yeah, I'm gonna. You know, one thing I'd like to do. This is not gun related whatsoever, but I'm gonna go on this little rabbit hole.
Okay.
I really want to like figure out the mix of Splenda whitener and instant coffee. I want to figure out the mix and make like a baggie of that stuff and like just be able to scoop it out and be like hot water and there's my coffee all pre-mixed. I know you can get like the Nestea or the Timmy's like prepackaged stuff, but I
Yep.
would rather just run out of a baggie and just get like a spoonful because I don't like having waste of any
Why are you
like
doing Splenda? Why aren't you just doing the creamer that's sweetened? The powdered
because
creamer that's sweetened.
most of the creamer that's sweetened is sugar.
Yeah. Oh, but
The
okay.
Splenda is not. So I
Not
don't want to take extra calories if I don't have to.
okay.
I'm sitting
Well, you're
around typing on a computer most of the time, so I need like low calorie
no,
stuff.
you're camping. You're roughing it. Remember? Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Anyways, that's all I'm up to. I'm gonna go do a Maple Seed and drive the battle van. My van is now a battle van. Like with those rear seats out, that was my ticket to treat it like a pickup truck. And now I've got like all sorts of crap in there. That's like I've got some T-post in there that's been in there like a month, and it's gonna stay in there. That T-post is gonna be in that van whenever I need it. And I just like toss stuff in. You open up the back hatch of that thing and you just fire stuff in there. Doesn't matter how much it'll
Yeah.
take it all. It'll take it all. You don't have to Tetris nothing. Just throw it in there and it'll take it. Love it.
It's now the Maple Sea Mobile
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like it's not nice like the car, so my wife doesn't want to drive it. So now it's just all my garbage just goes in there and I just love it.
Awesome.
Anyways, enough about camping and guns. Did you do anything in guns this week?
I did a bunch of stuff actually. So on Saturday, I went to the Kingston Skeet and Trap Association Club. It's one of the clubs I belong to here. The club pro, his name is Andy Spooner. He is a provincial, national, and even shot worlds as well, skeet champion. And so he gave us some tips, great tips, by the way. It was a 4-hour course. And what I took away from it was don't watch the end of your shotgun, which I do because I'm a rifle shooter. Watch the clays and make sure that you can see actually what's written on the clays. If you can do that, it means you're watching the clays and you're going to hit them. And the other thing he wants me to do is be aggressive. So actually go after the clays as opposed to waiting for the clays to come to me. So I hit a lot of them when I was doing that. And then it all fell apart when I went on my own on Wednesday. So I didn't do anything that he was telling me on Wednesday. Like Wednesdays are a normal trap day. I wasn't really paying attention to what he had said. And then I started thinking about it. And then I was able to hit them once I actually listened to what he had to say or remember what he had to say. So I had a much better time on Wednesday once I started hitting the clays. But anyways, the other thing I did on Saturday was after the training, I went out to Kelly Kincaid's place. We had a girls' night because what we did the next morning is we got up really, really early, and then we went out to FRPC, which is my other range that I belong to, and we went out and had a hashtag My Tribe shoot. That was with Tamara, who is one of the ladies that I shoot with. So we went off to one of the ranges. I was able to go and requalify on Maple Seed. So I got my rifle and patch. Remember I was telling you my 1022 was running like crap and then I stripped it last week? Well, yeah, it will did, but it was still running like crap. So I didn't know if I would even complete a MQT, but I did. First one, I just threw it in the garbage basically because I had so many malfunctions, stovepiping and everything. But by the time I was able to get some of that oil through, second one I requalified and it was actually pretty good. So my 1022 is back up and running.
Did you score a 250 with it?
No, hell no. I got a 229,
which
one
was knows. No one's seen the score. You can say whatever you want right now.
250 is a perfect score.
Yeah.
Right?
Say that. Just yeah. Of course I got a 250. I am one of the founding members of Maple Seed. You expect less from me?
I was happy with the 229 with everything that was going on with my rifle. Like seriously. And it was also 35 degrees. So I decided, you know what, we're going to put away the rifle a little bit because we also decided we were going to do some pistol shooting. What I did was I brought that. Remember, I also told you that I picked up that Smith & Wesson 22 pistol. So I brought that out because I hadn't shot it yet. So we decided we were going to shoot some pistols. We got that little puppy out and it's a really nice little target rifle. Good thing about it is that we had a brand new shooter come out as well, and she was shooting all the pistols, but she picked up the Victory, and she thought it was fantastic. We started her with it, so like trying it out, and it was perfect. Great little starter. She said, "This is, there's no bang to it. It's heavy. She was shooting right where she wanted to shoot, so it was perfect. It'll be great for Ladies' Day. So I'm gonna have to send my friend John a little thank you note about that." What else? I met up with listener Josh, who has been emailing. He's got a couple of emails for this week too, but he is somebody who's been emailing regularly, but he's also here in Kingston. So I went over and saw him, and I bought another appliance. So that means that's 2 guns that I no longer can buy, and I got a new fridge and stove. Anyways, so. But we've been texting, emailing, different things like that. He's got lots of questions about guns or deals and things like that. So it's nice to have, somebody that's you can chat guns
plugged
with.
in.
Yeah, I don't know if they really, really are excited about us talking about it at his desk at, FW Black, but hey, it is what it is. So anyways, Josh, thanks for listening again. Give him a shout out. He gave me a really good deal on a stove. So FW Black here in Kingston, go and visit him. Go and say hi to Josh. Okay. Gunny Girl calendar, just to let you guys know that the deadline for submissions is fast approaching. It's July 15th. So if you know of anybody who might like to be in the Gunny Girl calendar, let me know. You can send me an email here at slamfireradio@gmail.com, or you can actually send it out to kelly.wheaton@firearmsrights.ca. Have to be here in Kingston because we're going to be doing a photo shoot at the end of August, just to let you know. And yeah, that's about it. Skeet night on Wednesday. I love it. I got to shoot my rifle finally. Yay. And pistol shooting too. It was
Which
a
rifle?
really good 1022.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because all my ARs are verboten now.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, you said rifle, and I'm like, big. Not
speaking of
rimfire.
1022s, Maple Seed, buy one of those. Get one of those. It's your best option. Just letting you know. And if you want, we're going to talk about it next week. We're supposed to talk about mods to rifles. So why don't we talk about that next week?
Mods
How
to
you can
1022s.
mod out a 1022 because there are a
Put
few
that
mods here
little
you need to
circle,
do.
the oval circle. Make it so you can pull the bolt. The
Oval
auto
circle.
bolt. The auto bolt mod.
Yes, the
Yeah.
audible mod is the one that you have to do. Also the
Yeah.
extended mag release, also the buffer pins. We got a whole bunch of different ones that you can do for it.
They come with that little toggle thing. Like the mag release on that is okay.
No,
That little
it's case.
toggle thing.
No,
The push-in one, the one that's flush, the old style one, that is a
old.
piece of crap. Holy,
Yeah,
those are terrible. But like
no.
the new ones come with a little lever on there, and that's like okay-ish.
Yeah, but no. If you want it to be really good, here's the thing. We're talking about it already. Okay, so Matador Arms built one, and that is the best one on the market, but they don't have any in stock. So go
How's that
over
the
to
last one? You put that on your
the
gun?
last. No, I already. I had. It came with my Timothy trigger, the extended mag. I don't need one, right? I ordered it for my dad, but no,
Oh
I.
yeah.
So I don't like it as much as the Matador Arms. The reason Matador Arms is more like a paddle, and it's right in front of the trigger guard, so it's really pronounced and it's good, and you're not going to hit it by mistake. Whereas the one that, whether it be Delask or Timony or whatever you got on there, it shapes around the trigger guard, and you might hit it by mistake.
Yeah.
That one I don't like as much, but it's still better than what comes with your 1022. 1022 is little fiddly one, and I don't just switch it out. Okay, now I'm done. We're gonna talk about it again next week. All right, good. That's it.
All right. We've got a sponsor, new sponsor. Telos Alpha is a Canadian digital agency that works exclusively in the firearms vertical. They help with business processes, strategic planning, websites, e-commerce, and battling the stigma the industry carries with banks, merchant processors, and social media. Learn more at telosalpha.com. Upcoming events. The first one we have here is the Tumbler Ridge Action Shooters. They're holding a 3-gun, 2-gun PCC match in Tumbler Ridge, BC on July 18th, 19th as part of the Mighty Peace 3-gun league. Match fee is $80 for both days, $40 for a single day. Well, that's pretty cheap. Catered
Yeah.
lunch provided both days with prizes.
Woohoo!
Woo! That's a good. What would you pay for a round of golf if you went to a charity golf tournament and you got lunch?
Do you get the cart as well?
They
Yeah,
don't
you
get a
have to get the
cart.
cart. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
anyways, if you go
Yeah, you get a
to
cart.
a golf, okay, golf match is typically about $125, $150 per person.
A charity match would be like 300. A good charity match would be expensive. Where you got prizes?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they'd be up there.
Yeah.
$40 for a single day, and the prizes are probably good too.
And you get food.
Yeah, food.
And you get to shoot guns.
Mm.
And you get prizes.
Better use of nice wide open spaces. Yep.
Yes. Then. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Bolts, clip fed, and/or lever guns. Welcome in the 3-gun division. Full details on MP3G Facebook page. Oh, that's coming up soon here.
Yeah, it's not this weekend, it's next weekend.
But I got a maple seed to do that day. I kick all kinds of butt with this WK, I feel like. Because like, a lot of people have ARs and they don't have like another option that they could bring out.
Hey, you know what? You should go and visit 3gun.ca and look at when all the matches are.
I
And
haven't
then
updated it.
I know.
It sucks right now.
I was good. And then you can plan maple seeds around that. You can shoot.
Everyone's like, the schedules are fluid at this point. Yeah.
I know.
Schedules are fluid.
I'm finding that right now. Everybody's schedules are either fluid or they're not committing, or they're also, what I'm seeing is members only, or I'm also seeing, I don't know what we're going to do. No.
Yeah.
So
So all I'm doing is all I got. My not fluid is maple seeds. So
yeah. Well, no, I'm seeing that
uh
in
yeah.
Ontario right now with booking them. So,
Chaz 3
oh,
gun. They've got a match this weekend. Spots are still available. It's gonna be
sweet.
awesome. Uh did you want to talk about CRPS and Maple Seed fundraiser?
Okay, so CRPS, what they're doing right now is they're doing a fundraising coin. Crap, I didn't have it again this week.
Wait, I got one. I got one.
Do you?
Boom.
Yeah. So it's $50 for that
Well,
coin. You go to
well,
the CRPS website. You'll just do an EMT or whatever, give them $50, and then you will be entered in to win one of two rifles. So there's two rifles being offered, or rifle packages. So there's the testro.ca. They're offering a CZ475 long range precision match ready option. It's got all kinds of stuff in there. It comes with a case, it comes with cleaning, lube stuff, everything. So you can win that. Or there's the other option, or one that you can win. It's the Go Big Tactical. They got a Voodoo V22. It's the KRG Bravo trigger tech build. So basically it's one tricked out little 22, and yeah, you can win one of those two. So I've already got my. So here's the deal. The reality is both Adriel and I are winning these rifles. Nobody else is going to. So go and make your $50 donation, but we're going to run the rifles, right?
my coin's
Yes.
from last year.
Oh, okay. It's the same coin, by the way. Yeah. So Adriel needs to go and buy one of those so that Adriel and I can win both those rifles. Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should have
I
just
agree with
played.
you.
Yeah, you should have played along. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is, as of last night at about 10 o'clock, the Project Maple Seed 2020 fundraiser, it is officially sold out. So in less than a week, we've sold 300 patches. The patches were for a PGW Defense Technology rifle, chambered in 308, the Coyote. Fantastic package. We are just confirming everybody that did actually order / purchase one of those. We're just clearing everything up and dotting all our T's and I's and whatever, crossing whatever. And then we
Crossing
will,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we will have a live draw for the PGW Defense Technologies Coyote, which I really wanted to win, but I'm not really allowed to. So, yeah.
You're not allowed to?
No, because I'm a director.
Your money's just the same as everyone else's money, though.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm, okay.
Cool.
Sold out.
Sold out.
Yay.
But
Thank you,
CRPS
everybody.
isn't. So go do CRPS at rimfireprecision.ca.
Yeah,
News. Did you update these? Are these
I
updated?
did.
Oh,
Yeah, of
there.
course I did.
I looked and I'm like, man, this list is long.
Well,
The
of
other thing I
course.
saw is I saw an article that talked about the CCFR having over $300,000 of legal fee money to put towards this that was just out of business
Where this,
contributions.
yeah, so where'd this come from?
The article?
Yeah.
iPolitics. iPolitics had
Oh,
that. Yeah. You know what
I'm
I should do?
surprised they're
I should
being
put it in the
this.
news item.
Well, why don't you put it in the news item? Do you want me to go through all of these so that you can put it in the news item,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
we can
yeah.
discuss it? Okay.
Mhm.
So here are some of the organizations, ranges, and federations that have donated to the CCFR Legal Fund. Lloydminster District Fish and Game Club, they donated 1,500. Prince Rupert Rod and Gun, 1,000. AI Tactical Solutions. Now, what they're doing is they're taking 20% of their sales and they're donating it to CCFR. That's really good and amazing considering it's a business and they're taking 20% in times like these. Like, that's one, ridiculous that they can do that, but two, it's really awesome. The Micmac Rod and Gun Club is 500. Nose Hill Rod and Gun Club 2,000. KS Arms Limited 900. Great Plains Shooters Association is $2,000. I'm going to try this. Temiskaming Bullseye Club is 1,000.
Pretty good.
Saskatchewan, what? Sorry?
That was a good try. Yeah.
Uh,
That sounds like the thing that it's supposed to say.
Okay, the Saskatchewan the Saskatchewan Gun Collectors is $5,000. William Lake Sportsman Association is $2,500. Antigonish Marksman Association $1,000. Foam Lake Wildlife Federation 1,000. Edson Game and Fish and Game Association is 5,000. That's pretty awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And when you add it all up, iPolitics is an article. Court challenge. Court challenges over federal gun ban drums up legal costs as confrontation begins. And this is a prominent gun lobby and longtime firearms importer challenging the liberal ban on 1,500 models of semi-automatic rifles has already raised $300,000 for legal costs.
Excellent. The reason we're going to need more than that. So just let you know, we're fighting. Hey, yeah. So did you hear any more about the anti-gun lobby being observers or whatever?
Interveners. Yeah,
Interveners. That's
Wendy,
Kukier.
what her name is. Yeah, Cookier. Has applied for intervener status, I think, on 2 of the lawsuits. I'm not sure if she's got the 3rd or 4th one. I think there's like 5 in play right now. So she has applied for intervener status on 2 of them.
Do you know if that means that if she's got that status that she can be cross-examined?
I believe that is the case, that she wants to be like, she wants to get in there. What really an intervener
if
status?
it gets granted.
Yeah, you apply if you think that the case is going to affect your rights. I don't believe this is actually affecting her rights, but I believe that from what Tracy was saying, she would be glad for Wendy to come in because it's a chance to debate and show her up. So
and challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if she'll actually get that granted. The court has to actually do that, and I don't know what date they're looking at for that. So we'll give an update when it happens. So what about the Sandhill crane?
Yeah, we're gonna get a season in Alberta here for sandhill crane hunting.
Cool.
This is a type of bird they hunt in the States. I believe they have them in the south of Alberta, and I might travel to go hunt these because they apparently taste delicious. They are called the ribeye of the sky by a couple of
ribeye of the sky. Have you ever had? You haven't had any.
I've never had sandhill. This is a meat that I haven't had, and I have to have it. I'm trying to collect them all. It's like Pokemon, like whatever the whatever's on Earth. Like I want to eat one of them.
Okay.
And Sandhill avoided me so far.
It's been elusive, but now.
Not really elusive, but now there's a hunting season for it. So I might have to go down to Calgary, maybe down to like Drumhill, or find some sandhill somewhere down there. Find a spot.
What if it tastes like chicken?
Ribeye of the sky.
It's not going to taste like ribeye.
Meaty.
Okay.
Well, which is funny because like a lot of like ducks and geese and that kind of thing, like the meat is horrible. Like you would eat like, this is disgusting. Like, and the only way you can eat a lot of the, like those like the rancor meats is jerky. It's like, oh, it's jerky. Oh, it tastes great. That's because you just salt the crap out of it, and
or just cover it in ketchup.
Or oh, that's some sacrilege. Some people just like got really mad when they're driving around.
I don't do that with any. I don't put ketchup on anything.
You put ketchup, a mix of ketchup, mayonnaise, and A1 steak sauce on it, and then you can eat it. It tastes fine.
No. If you have to do that, then you shouldn't be eating it. Really.
Probably.
Yeah. Gross.
You're not eating something that you like.
No. Okay.
The other thing that we have here in the news is that Bill Blair has directed the CBSA to seize AR-15 parts coming into the country, no matter if they're for an AR-15 or not.
Correct. That's what I heard as well. So even if you can take these parts and put them on something that's not an AR.
Which I think you can do for all AR parts. The only thing you can't, okay, upper and lower, fantastic. Yeah. Every other part goes on some other gun.
Oh, you know what I heard? I don't know who it was that actually posted this on Facebook. They were talking about one of the gunsmiths were coming across the border and he had some of his tools. They were seized because it had, these are the things that it actually works on. An AR-15 was listed. So they seized his tools. Like, that's stupid.
Huh. That is interesting. Oh, I mean, even these, like, I saw this confirmed by a couple people on Reddit as well.
Block and vice. What? Yeah.
They had ordered some stuff from Brownells, and it got stopped at the border and turned around, and it was like for a fore end and some other stuff. But like the thing is, a lot of those parts work on other things as well. But they like, as far as CBSA is concerned, they're banned. They're blocking everything that goes on an AR-15 right now, which is kind of par for the course. I don't know. I don't know if you remember when they did the gravity-assisted knife thing. It's like
Yeah.
if you can take the knife and you can like flick it open,
Look it.
oh, can't that ban those? So a lot of these folding knives got banned from import by the CBSA. I think
Still can't get them in.
the same big brains that run the CBSA are running the CFO offices and CFP as well, because the similar kind of thing, right? If they can squint sideways at it and ban something, they will, because they can.
Well, it's not CBSA that's doing it. It is actually public safety. So it comes from his office.
Bill Blair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
He
just
could
they're
put an
just
edict out,
following it.
but I haven't seen a memo or something like
Why?
that. There should be a memo along with it that says, "Hey, we did this. Now ban these." But it's not in law. That's the thing. Like,
No.
can the I don't think Bill Blair could legally just ban stuff because he says it. There has to be law around that, right? You can't just ban the importation of things.
So Butler Creek. So those gravity assisted blades, there's no law
The
around them.
Butler Creek, I don't believe. Well, there hasn't been a
Keep
court
going.
case around it.
Nope. There's no law. Just
Yeah.
hold on a second.
Mhm.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes,
So
I will talk amongst myself. Anyways, yeah. Long story short, AR-15 parts are not coming to the country, but thankfully we have some local manufacturers. So to hell with it. Screw them,
yeah.
man.
I've also seen a lot of AR-15 parts being put on sale right now.
Well, I think some people are
People
stripping
want to
their
just
ARs.
get rid of. Well, I'm talking
They
about
probably want to
retailers.
make some money too, right? Like if
Yeah.
like some guys have like between your average AR-15 owner probably has between $2,000 and $50,000 of inventory in their house that is now locked up. So a way of freeing up some of that cash is strip the parts off and
Strip it
sell them.
and sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
So
We've got. I'm assuming even our guest tonight has a lot of money locked in his safe. I know I do, and I know that you definitely do. So
yeah, we all do. Yeah.
yeah. It's anyways.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's kind of like I was kind of thinking about that when I was on Reddit actually, and a lot of people like after the ban posted like, "Oh, there's my gun. I couldn't even take it out." Like that's not an indicative sample size of Canada. That forum, right? But there
No.
was a disproportionate amount of people who had just bought a gun and never gotten to take it out. And I just wonder, like
Yeah.
of the owners of these guns, how many of them do they own, and
Well, look at.
what's the average value that was lost per owner of one of these firearms?
Well, if they're looking at compensation, fair compensation, they're not going to get that value back to them. I do know that. Like we can't afford that. Like, well, then again, we can't afford half the crap that's going on right now,
They'll
and
just
in
borrow
billions,
more.
whatever.
They'll just money printer
Yeah.
go brr and take care of it.
But that's besides the point. I don't want to sell my guns back to anybody. They're my guns, and I'm paying for it. So anyway, but where was I going with this? I don't remember.
There was a rabbit hole over here. You were heading in this direction.
I don't know anymore.
I don't know the path you were taking over that way,
I
though.
don't know. It was really good too, but you did shiny. Okay, go.
Let's see here. Rangeview just got a new shipment of Model 64F. These are Savage 22s. So they've got some of those.
So remember last week we were talking about Grand Prairie?
Yeah.
Being shut down, the outdoors, right? They've decided that they're not going to contest that. They're just going to do indoor shooting.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So that was the new news. Last week they got shut down. This week they decided they weren't going to contest it. They were just going to do indoor. That's sad. I hate people.
Maybe they didn't have the money for a court battle, or maybe they just didn't think they were going to win. I mean, like a local county has some authority over the business that goes on in their county.
Yep.
And denying business licenses or finding excuses, like creative excuses to do that, is something that they may do. So yeah, it is unfortunate. You know, one thing, totally off topic again, jumping around. I heard that Maple Ridge Armory is sending out some of they renamed their rifle, their straight pull AR replacement, to the Renegade, and they are sending out samples to retailers. So retailers are going to have a sample of these things in their store shortly.
Shortly?
Shortly.
Like, can you tell me
I believe they'd ship them.
timeline? Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
really shortly then.
Yeah, so retailers are going to have those things like Toot Sweet here, and yeah, that's kind of interesting because those may be a competition to some of the semi-auto rifles that we have. Like they're not great for a double tap because you got to take your hand off the forend and rack it in between shots.
Yeah.
But I want to get one, and I want to get one of the AR-10 ones because I want to run one in 6.5 Grendel. I want to make one of those for
Cool.
shooting coyotes or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out.
Cool. Okay.
That's about all we have in new gun stuff. Why don't we head on to the main topic? Now for tonight, last show, Trevor and I were arguing a bit about traditional rifles versus bullpups and which is better for competition, especially now that ARs are banned and we're only stuck with lesser rifles, I guess you could say, for the traditional semi-autos. And I know someone who shoots Tavors a lot has gone through some Tavor training specifically, and very few people out there have. So I wanted to welcome to the show, Chad. Welcome on again. You've been on here before, right?
Yeah, a couple times. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a couple times. But like in terms of Tavor, like which course did you take again? It was a lady from Israel, right?
Yeah, so Zahal for just 1 year there, as far as I know, was doing what they called the Tavor one-on-one course. And they'd fly over Lovey from, she was IDF instructor for the Tavor, and now is working for Zahal. And she put on that course across Canada, mostly Western Canada, a couple places, Ontario, and then down in the States. They were going to come back, and the last I talked to TV Press, it sounded like possibly there was an issue with either the Americans or the Canadians with the level of training we're receiving being too much like militia type training. So they've put that on hold for now. So yeah, you can't even do that course anymore, which is too bad because it was a lot of fun.
Interesting. And in terms of like the style of course it was it like a tactical? Was it stuff that you could apply to competition?
Yeah, so it was definitely very much how they marketed it, and I know it's not the same, but they marketed it very much as this is the same training that the conscripts in the IDF would get for the Tavor. Obviously, what you're going to get in a weekend in 2 days and 500-600 rounds is not the same, but the general principles, I believe, were the same. They ran us a lot, very similar to military. There was lots of running between positions back and forth. But as far as the firearms specifically, it was lots of weapons manipulation, accuracy, marksmanship, and they were encouraging speed on top of that. And then just kind of kept building and growing off of that, adding stress into the equation too. So seeing how you could perform those manipulations, those drills, all that stuff while you're under stress. So it was a pretty good course. I think it was about 20-ish guys when I was there, and it was about 12 hours a day, 2 days in a row. It was a good course.
Oh, that's quite a bit longer than I thought it was. So it was a 2-day course then?
Yeah, it was a full weekend. I know the first day when I got back, I stopped at the hotel about 7 o'clock after supper, just laid down on the bed for a second just to decide what I wanted to do, and then woke up at 6:30 the next morning with my clothes still on top of the blankets there. So she definitely worked us hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, that sounds so. What kind of specifically on the platform? So bullpups versus traditional. What kind of specific things did you have to learn to manipulate a bullpup and to use a bullpup effectively in that course?
So much of it for them, the way that they train, comes down to stance. I know Trevor in the last podcast there had mentioned, or maybe it was you, Adriel, I can't remember, mentioned support with that. The way that they build a platform and a foundation on the bullpup, there's actually a ton of points of contact, but it's very different than a traditional rifle. A lot of it's coming from the wrists and from the armpit, and just the way you're locking up your skeleton, which is very different than a traditional rifle. And further to that, a lot of how they trained was distance dictated the position. So if you were shooting within 25 yards, you would stand one way versus 50 versus 100. and they would trade that up specifically. Essentially, it worked down to just stand and deliver, kneeling and prone. But the way you got into those positions was all a little bit different than a traditional rifle as well.
Interesting. Yeah. Like, yeah, one of the things I showed on the last show was like with a traditional rifle, you can kind of grab there and then grab onto wood or a barricade or something like that. And then that's how you would, shoot like a long range on for example, at Chaz, one of our long range stages. You can do a
Yeah.
lot of long range stuff from standing without having to change your position if you just grab onto something.
Exactly. Actually, what we found on the long range stage, I did run my Tavor at the last Chaz match, and we didn't have anything crazy long range last match, but it was, I think everything was 150 or inside. But I did try to brace against the barricade, and because it's so tight and in there and kind of up in your face, took 2 shots, went, wait, this doesn't work, and then went down to a reverse kneel position and was able to engage that steel no problem, 1 for 1. But just that time getting in and out of that position was that adds time too when you're on the clock. That's probably 2 seconds if you're fast with it.
Yeah.
So,
now you mentioned running that at a 3-gun match. So you ran your Tavor at the last match. You typically run an AR though, right?
yeah, traditionally I run a lightweight 18-inch AR that it's I compete in the open division, so it's got all the bells and whistles, all the extra sights, all that kind of thing. Obviously, that's pro hip, and I can't use that anymore. So the Tavor is what I had in my gun case there, short of going to PCC division, which I didn't want to do. So I ran it. One thing I found right away, the Tavor, on the front, it's got this little 45-degree rail. I don't know if you can see that right there. But I thought, oh, that's great. Like open, my open gun has a 45-degree offset on it. I'll throw my scope on here. I'll throw my 45 up there and see what happens. Tried it for 2 seconds, and I don't know if you can see it there, but this is where the brass comes out, and it bounces right inside your safety glasses. So ended up competing in limited, let's just say that, because it just wasn't going to work for me otherwise. Overall, it was different. Functionality wise, it didn't let me down. I didn't have any malfunctions. It's a rock solid platform, but definitely a lot of things I learned from running it in that match. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the more interesting reason to have this discussion right now, because before, you're going to go into 3-gun, get an AR. You can get an AR for $600. It is functionally superior to the Tavor for the competition of 3-gun.
Absolutely.
But then as soon as you start talking about, okay, well, there's no more ARs. And now your alternative for an AR is a WK-180C, which is not the same as an AR. And right now, I would say like some of the, especially first versions of these things have some definite parts breakage issues. So the build quality isn't as good as, say, like the Tavor and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so the Tavor, what they told us at that course is one of the design requirements was that they could throw it off a 2-story building onto asphalt and still have it work. They claim that it does. I haven't tried it with mine, but
I don't think my rifle would take that.
So it is pretty robust. That's one of the first things I noticed switching to it, though. You go from a lightweight build with carbon fiber and skeletonized uppers and everything over to Tavor, and I'll bet you that Tavor weighs twice what my competition AR weighs. So that was a little different. Ergonomics is just a little different. The reloads. This is the one thing Trevor talked about. I haven't seen the video he referenced with Chris Costa running a Tavor, what he claims is fast as an AR. At least with the 21, the TIR 21, that's your bolt release or your magazine release right there. So in order to, your traditional AR, you hit the button with your index finger, the magazine's dropping, you're grabbing one off your belt as the magazine's falling.
Yep.
This one, you're reaching up, you're pushing that, pulling the magazine out, then grabbing another one out of your belt and jamming it in there. So that's an extra movement right there, which, that's going to slow you down no matter what versus the AR platform. The X95 does have an AR-ish bolt release on it. The one that I handled was brand new. It felt pretty stiff to me, but I feel like that would probably wear in over time. So that issue maybe goes away a little bit. The other issue you'd get, and at Chaz I never had this issue, but at some ranges I've been to, with the magazine release, you can grab in your shoulder like that if you want. But the way they trained it very much to a pistol is to get that up into your space and your workspace and do it that way, which, as you'll notice, my muzzle has cleared the berm there.
Yeah.
So again, at Chaz, not an issue with RROs, but some ranges I've been at, that would be a disqualification right there.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, looking into the magwell is super important for something that you gotta get in there quick, right?
With an AR, it's out in front of you, so it's not the same motion. Muscle memory wise, I've got enough on this that the charging up here, that never really messed with me. That would be an adjustment, obviously, to anybody that's used to coming off an AR platform, or even from the WK with it back here. It's a little different. That's kind of neither here nor there. Couple other weird ones I noticed. Well, one actually before I took it out even, just to see if I could make hits at long range. I took this out to my home range and 300 yards on 8-inch steel. I was consistently able to hit that, but just comparing on paper, this is roughly a 3 MOA gun. My AR-15 was 1.5 with just shooting Norinco surplus ammo.
Yeah.
So same ammo in both. This is definitely less accurate. The other thing I noticed that surprised me, one thing I didn't think I'd get, or didn't even cross my mind, is picking this up out of dump sleds. So we run very similar to the MGM dump sleds. It's an angled 45-degree carpeted box. With my AR being 18-inch, or even when I'd run my 10.5-inch, it wasn't so bad to reach in there. You could grab it. This is way down at the bottom. You practically had to touch your toes to get this thing out of the dump sled, and it doesn't really have anything at the back end that lends itself to handling it like an AR does with that stock. So grabbing this out of the dump was definitely a challenge that I hadn't expected. Some ROs will let you balance that on the dump sled, your ARs, to get them up for an advantage. This, with that design, there's really no way I could find to do that, which kind of made me think it's just going to fall and I'm going to get disqualified. The one thing that really did come up here, and you touched on it the last podcast, was height over bore. I measured a few of my AR and AR style platforms, and they're all pretty consistently 2.6 to 2.75 inch height over bore. This thing is 3.8, and that's with the Mepro 21 on it. That's the optic that the IDF uses as well. We didn't use the VTACs at this last match, and I think that was a choice on purpose, talking to the match directors, just because we had so many different new guns out there that why add chaos to that.
Yeah.
I do have a VTAC at home. I've wanted to run the Tavor in competition for years, just because I really like the platform. And I've drilled on that VTAC and, tried to see if I can get my speed up, get it fast. The ones that are cut like mail slots, it's just about impossible. You're either getting partial target views, which with the red dot you can sometimes work around. That, or you're perforating your VTAC with your muzzle. I haven't found a good way to do it. Prone through the bottom ports, you've pretty much got to go to urban prone. The height over bore is too much to see through that plywood.
Yeah.
And then you've got ejection issues where it's ejecting right onto your bare arm or right into the dirt and bouncing back in to the ejection port. Like I said, we didn't have a VTAC at this last match, but we did have a few targets that were paper targets, 5 to 7 yards, something like that, and stacked one above the next. And I know there's a couple I came up against, and my traditional hold with an AR at that range is I just aim for the part in their hair, and usually you'll get them right in the middle of that head box. Did the same thing, and I was getting the target below it. Holy cow. So bring it up a couple inches, hammer it again, go, oh, it's almost there, but ended up giving myself 4 no-shoots doing that.
Oh man.
Just the Kentucky windage. Oh boy, this something you can work around, but holding a whole head box high above a 5 or 6 yard target is definitely
that's hard.
After training.
You would
That's just with a 50-yard zero on this. I mean, it's nothing crazy for my zero.
Yeah, with a red dot, there's not even a reference point to use because you're aiming here, but your bullets are hitting down here somewhere, right? There's
Yeah,
not even a
yeah.
reference point in the optic that you could use. Like I just eyeball it with an AR and I go, I don't know, like 2 inches and wheel away and it's good to go. But like 5 is hard to estimate for. I guess you could still do it. It's just not really as precise.
Yeah, it's mainly it's just a big adjustment, right? Like you could figure out that height over bore. You could do all the math, put it through, those little fancy charts in Strelock that show you all that stuff. But
If
a
you had
lot
a
of it, I
scope
guess,
with holdovers, then maybe
that
you'd
would
have a
work.
holdover
Yeah.
that you could use. Yeah.
I had thought about putting optics on this, but this one was zeroed, and my other ones, and just didn't feel like going to all that effort for the way I like to run this at home. So, yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. Like it was reliable, but if we're talking seconds on the clock, I'd hate to even put time to it, going from an open gun to limited, but it was definitely slower. I noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the triggers there, this is a stock trigger. I've never found that to affect my accuracy. To get the lightning bow and the upgraded Geisley trigger, I'm looking at, can't remember last time I looked, it was close to $1,000 for both those pieces, and still not great on the ones I felt. So you compare that to, a $200 or $300 trigger in my AR that's got no travel and no poundage. There's no comparison. So your splits on your double taps and stuff are a little slower too, for sure.
Yeah. Chad, what about remedial? What happens if you get a jam or anything like that? How much longer is it going to take you to clear that compared to your AR?
It's definitely going to be slower. The left-handed charging up here, like that's nice. It's right where you need it. You don't have to reach up by your face.
Yeah, I like
with
that.
The scope or anything like that. That's really good. What I don't like is this bolt is closed right now, but your bolt hold open is at the bottom here, and you have to pull it out to get it. So just that manipulation, holding it with your left hand up into here to pop that out, that's an awkward movement no matter how you spin it. On the reload, it's very nice because that magazine comes in and you bump that with your thumb and it closes it. But if you've got a double feed or something like that, that's
what I was
cause
wondering.
Problems having that right there, accidentally manipulating your bolt. For an AR, I run a bad lever. And, for that to lock your bolt open, it's just a flick of the finger. It's all right in your face. You can see that port. That's the other thing, back to having this over the berm, with that training, it was very much observe the chamber was the first thing, what's going on. But to get your face in there, like this is going some pretty crazy directions again, up and over the berm. Not, again, depending on your RO, not maybe a huge deal, but it's, other than that, like I said, it didn't jam on me. I didn't have any issues there. I ran it dry once, but with the way that bolt release works on inserting the mag there, wasn't a problem, didn't slow me down. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't see a way around that even with training, how holding that out there to pull that magazine release or that bolt release out.
Well, I mean, like your alternatives aren't even that much better. Like, okay, how do I hold the bolt open on this thing? Well, if I didn't have this guy here, I would have to pull it back and then put my finger up in the mag well and then let it go. Now, if there's a mag in there and I have a double feed, this is actually pretty painful to fix. Again, without that lever. Since I've got that lever, I can just push it in and it'll lock it open like that.
Yeah.
And then if I do run this thing dry, my reload is mag in and hit this thing and then go forward with it, right?
Yeah.
Not great, but it's still quick enough because that jamming a mag in and then racking this bolt is not that bad.
Yeah. For the remedials with the the training from that Tavor course, essentially 3 out of the 4 just boiled down to drop the mag, rack it a whole bunch of times, and put it back in and see what happens. So, which the thing to keep in mind, any of the reloads and stuff we did during that training, it was very, towards the tactical end of things, take a knee, get behind cover. But when you keep it, this was designed to be a squad issued weapon, right? So reloads or remedials or any of that kind of stuff, if you're undercover and someone else is there, watching out for you, it's not a big deal. For something like competition, unfortunately, it's not a squad-based activity, as fun as that might be. But
Well, you've got a break on there. How are your double taps and your your fast shots with it?
I had a bird cage on it before that. That's what it came with.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the way that this sits, when you've got it fully supported, it's so stable that it doesn't, like, I never found muzzle rise to be an issue at
Mm-hmm.
all. This one does have the bipod on it there, which of course I couldn't use in competition in limited. But just shooting it off a bench kind of with free recoil, this brake did make a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get a little hop out of it, but nothing significant. It's a fairly heavy rifle, and all the weight's towards the back anyways. So
Yeah, especially with the loaded mag in it.
yeah, exactly. So mainly I had the brake kicking around, so I threw it on there to make sure that the RO was having a good time too.
How is it for transitions for moving from target to target?
It's good, actually. I went out before everything was banned, and I was playing with this with a VZ58.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an SLR done up with a DMR setup, quite heavy, and then a modern Sporter done up quite light, and then my AR, and I was doing 1 to 5 drills. And believe it or not, this was the fastest out of all of them.
Interesting.
And it was mid-pack, and I kind of did it a few times. And consistently, this was the fastest on a 1 to 5 drill for me.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting because it's like all the weight's very close to your body. Like you can swing it faster than you can something that's got a barrel like hanging way out there that you're moving, and there's all that mass out there that you're moving around,
exactly.
right?
With my longer barreled rifles, I like a long handguard on them too, and I do keep that. I think they call it the Costa clamp way out there in front to drive that rifle. But this is definitely it's quicker to swing for sure.
Yeah, just because it's so nice and close. Yeah.
Did you find at any of the stages that you weren't able to fit your rifle into any of the openings?
Yeah, on our 25-yard stage, a lot of the rifle had to be engaged. You could do it through 2 windows, I think is how they designed it, through 2 different barricades. Or if you kind of got your torso through one of the windows, you can engage all of the rifle targets there. With this short little thing, it was definitely, I got through that window, but I felt a bit like Winnie the Pooh there, getting stuck in a lunchbox. Getting in and out was a bit of a challenge for sure. So
Interesting. Yeah, I mean an advantage to a bullpup is if there was like a tight hallway that you had to move through, that's better than swinging around this enormous thing that that's got an 18.5-inch barrel and big stock, and you've got a nice compact rifle there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We got a question from William Saunders. He's asking about the X95. What's everybody's opinion on that?
So like I said, I tried one out at the shooting range. It does have the mag release in the same spot as an AR-15, which I see maybe as an advantage, at least from the reload slowing you down point of view. What I guess ultimately it came down to the same opinion I have about my Shadow 1 versus the Shadow 2. Is I go, yeah, I like it. I see some advantages, but I couldn't be inclined to spend the money to swap. If I was going straight from not having this 21 and looking, would I get the 21 or the 95? I don't know. But you might lean towards the 25. Interestingly enough, in that training with the TAR 21, they said the X95 never really made it. It was more an answer to the civilian market, with guys saying this isn't an AR-15. So they kind of AR-15'd it a little bit. I don't know though. It seemed fine. The one that I used, just I couldn't see the point to sell this and upgrade, or to spend the cash to buy another one again.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be relevant because people like today, if you were to get into 3-gun, you're looking at a WK-180, an ACR on the used market, very expensive though. You're going to spend like $3,000 plus on those. I don't know if of the WKs, I guess there's a WK-180 and the WS-180 MCR. The Wolverine supplies ones that use steel inserts on them, so maybe those would be more reliable. I don't know. I haven't played around with one of those yet, but I've heard good things. Or you go to a Bullpup, because on the Bullpups there's a couple of options. There's the Tavor, there's the X95, there's the RDB, there's another one that I'm forgetting. Oh, the T97, but like beyond horrible ergonomics, like it's got those in spades. At least the Tavor's got a couple of nice things like that bolt hold open, bolt release. Even the mag release is better than the T97, but it does cost quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I think with any of them right now is you'll just be lucky to find any of them. I know just looking for Tavors right now, they're kind of unobtainium at the moment.
Yeah.
At least with the WKAs, they're still making them in country, so we're not dealing with importing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the Type 97s have, the Tavors, there is an aftermarket there though, right? You can get triggers, you can get forends. Like I saw you had a different forend on theirs, on there for yours. You can get some stuff with them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Any other thoughts on the Bullpup versus traditional? Like if you were buying a rifle for 3-gun competition today, which one would you get?
Oh, today. Well, I had the WK 180C. It was part of the pre-orders. It showed up at my house, and I took it out of the box, and I dry fired it once and said, I don't like the trigger. I don't like the balance. I put it back in the box, and I sold it on CGN. All that said, that was easy to say when you had a couple non-restricted black rifles in the safe that you could use and a few ARs. Now I wish I hadn't sold that WK 180C because I could have put a better trigger in it.
Yeah.
The balance still wouldn't have been great, but I mean, comparing it to a Bullpup, that's got weird balance to it too. I probably would run, well, reliability aside, the 180. And some of them have seen good, and hopefully they're getting better. I think just based on the muscle memory and everything else that I've built over the years running an AR in 3-gun, I would run that 180, especially being in the open division, because its ergos are essentially identical to my shotgun that I used to use. So now that's out the window too.
Also had to change.
I have to ask, what are you running for a shotgun now? Because what were you using before? The Stereo or
Typhoon? The threaded big brake, the big pump action mags, all of that. Couple optics. I was TAC Ops for a few seasons before I went into open, so I had a Versamax actually too, sitting and ready. So went out to the shop quite a few nights and remembered why I hate quad loading and got myself refamiliarized with that. And actually, I mean, I yard sailed quite a bit on the clock, but I was able to keep it fed. I've always liked tube gun. It's just when everybody's running pump action mags in an open gun, you've got to go to that open gun to stay competitive.
Right. But now everybody's going back to the tube fod.
Yeah. So I'd look at that. There was a guy at the match that had a 12 gauge Bullpup. It seemed okay. I'd thought about that, but actually I do have an AS-46 in the safe, so I might try and run that for a few matches too. Very similar to that WK. When I got it out of the box, I went, this thing's like plastic and terrible, and I don't like it at all. But it came with 3 mags, so that's why I bought it. Now I might be running it because that might be the best option.
I wonder, it's got to be faster. It's got to be faster to run a pump with 10-round mags versus a semi with.
Yeah, well, I've got some 15 and 22 round mags for that pump as well, and it's a spring-loaded pump, so you can cycle it pretty fast. It just it felt real junky. It still feels real junky. But,
well, you could get out like a bore brush with some copper scrub and like scrub the bore out to make it cycle a little bit nicer and not hold the shells in. I know some of the Turk guns, like they have burrs in the chamber, so if you polish the chamber out, they work a bit nicer, and then just run a crap ton of ammo through it, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking about that and maybe putting it on my lathe and threading it up for a brake there, throw a brake from the Typhoon on it. That's one thing I noticed going back to the Versamax. I have like a pallet of 1 1/8 ounce handicap Kent sport loads. And that Typhoon just doesn't kick, especially with that brake. Run it through that Versamax. Oh, right. Shotguns actually kick. I got to hold on to this thing
I
here.
want to shoot faster and flatter.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why is it
Yeah,
kicking
it
up?
surprised me a little. That, and I forgot I had plus P ammo for my pistol that doesn't have a comp on it anymore. So that surprised me a little bit too, but still fun.
Well, and you would have like knocked the steel over with authority. Hit it low, it doesn't matter. It's going over.
Yeah, that's right.
We have somebody else who's asking about the Spectre. What are your thoughts on that?
The
Spectre is that bullpup shotgun.
Bullpup shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, so the one that Spectre Ballistics had it there at the match running it, I think his was a range or something. It's a real cheap one. The
They're the
trigger
same.
on it, is it the same one? The trigger on it was surprisingly good. I was quite impressed. It had a good reset. It wasn't crazy heavy to pull. It was a plastic clamshell shotgun, but based on the price on that one in particular, I don't think you can go too far wrong. I don't think you can expect a whole bunch out of it based on the price, but he was on the same squad as me and it seemed to run pretty good all match long. I don't recall any significant catastrophes or failures that he had with it.
Interesting. Yeah, the Spectre has an aluminum forend. The back part's plastic, but the front forend piece is aluminum. There's like small differences between those shotguns. They all use the same operating action. Like,
yeah,
there must be one Turkish company that makes like all the actions for those things and then sells them to the rest of the guys to put whatever other parts they want on them.
Yeah, it seems totally serviceable. I wouldn't have any issue buying one, I don't think, if I was looking to get into the game. Honestly, there was a good deal on the Duria MK12 match edition just before that match on Gunpost, and I just about bought it. I thought, wow, do I want to spend $1,200 on something that might get prohibited? And what do you know, 3 days later it was. So
I think the Mark 10 is still safe. Is the Mark 10 still all right?
Yeah, I've got a Mark 10 in the safe, and that's actually what I tried, and that thing is so unreliable that if I spent some time on it, maybe I get it to run, but I ran probably 3 boxes through it high brass, and it was still just wasn't in a position I wanted to compete with it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's always a possibility, but I guess a little bit more work. Awesome. Any other thoughts on the bullpup versus traditional, I guess?
No, not really. I guess, I still put a ton of time on mine. Like I said, I had the Modern Explorer, I had the SLR. I live on a farm, so any of those 223 non-restricted black rifles is kind of my go-to platform for coyotes. And the Tavor is generally still my go-to, just because of the compact nature, the way that it sits on a sling if I'm going out, with the quads or whatever I'm using. It's still, if we're looking at sheer body count of coyotes, the Tavor is its heads and tails above my other options.
Heads and tails and paws above the rest of the competition.
Well,
I could see it like getting it into a truck or something like that, or slinging a bullpup rifle is so
it's
nice.
So good. Yeah,
doesn't go above
really
your head, so you don't smoke like doorways as you're going through. Like, it just sits there so nicely.
Yeah. So it's definitely my go-to. Those other platforms are all great too, and I really enjoy them. It might just come down to time behind each platform, but I'm gonna keep competing with the Tavor. I'm not gonna buy a WK or anything else like that. So I might have to spend some more time on those VTACs if they come back and try to figure that out. But yeah, I haven't given up yet. It's slower than my AR, but I still really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I think if enough people bring bullpups, they might have to just widen the holes on the VTAC or something like that, because it's unusable with a gun like that.
It's a self-correcting problem. Those holes will widen themselves if they don't.
True fact. Well, I wanted to thank you again for coming on and kind of giving us a little bit of insight firsthand using bullpups versus traditional semi-auto rifles. And thanks again for coming on and letting us know about that.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks again to Chad for coming on and letting us know about bullpups versus traditional rifles, and why I was right in saying that the traditional rifles are better than bullpups. I think that's what he said, right? He was saying some like training, maybe the bullpups would be okay. I didn't hear that part though. I just heard they're better.
Yeah.
Specifically for competition.
Yeah, and this whole subject came up because you guys, you being Adriel and Trevor, were arguing about this last week,
Yes.
and we're talking about Trevor. So whether it be training over here, if that's going to make it better, or just picking it up and just shooting out. Obviously, training helps. Are you pouring? Are you
helps with
pouring
both.
more of that dollar store whiskey into that wine glass? That'd be
Yeah.
yes.
That'll
Okay.
be a hard yes. Yeah. Affirmative. Yeah. Any feedback on Facebook? Maple Seed events for Ontario. Greg wants to know.
Yes, Greg, they will be happening, but right now we're just getting feedback from all the ranges that we put stuff out to. So probably within the next day or two, we'll have things up, and our IITs, hold tight. I'll be posting the events there too, so you guys can sign up for them. So.
Yeah. So a lot of people are asking about maple seeds and like, are maple seeds happening? Are you going to do some in this province? And the answer is probably yes. It's just we're working with some ranges, and they'll be posted soon. Like we posted 2 publicly for Alberta because we needed spots, and Chaz sold out pretty quick. Actually, all the events at Chaz sold out now for maple seed.
So
I might
Alberta
need to add
is
another one. I don't know.
Yes. So Alberta is kind of a different province compared to some of the other provinces that we've been working with. In Ontario, some of the responses that I've been getting is, well, yeah, but we're kind of only members right now. Yeah, I don't know if we're like, we had events scheduled for certain dates, and they're going, no, hard stop, we're not doing anything. And so I'm trying to reshuffle the deck basically and see if we can get to some other places. There's some stuff that's coming up though, so working hard. You guys will be the first to know, kind of. Well, actually, probably the IITs will be the first to know, and then the public. Yay.
Yeah, but they're coming up, and we've got like 10 events in Alberta here, and a bunch everywhere else. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get rained on Sunday. I was just looking at the weather while you were talking about what you did in guns there, and it's definitely thunderstorm, 60% chance of rain. So woo, maple seed weather. I like it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna bring my yellow ducky jacket, and
I want pictures. What we need here is I should get those scheduled because we haven't had rain in a while.
Yeah, you said 35. I don't think it's cracked 25 here all year. So
we've had a solid 2 weeks of 35-ish weather, and this weekend's supposed to be the same thing, and thunder showers or thunderstorms. So my grass is crunchy. I don't have to mow it though, so I'm always looking at the positive side.
I don't have 30 for at least the next 2 weeks. I'm looking at the 14-day. It's all on 24.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Like doing a maple seed in cold weather, like I would rather have cold weather than like 35, because 35, like my brain melts. I just can't, like I drink all the water I can. End of the day, I'm just like slurring and just like I'm just not there anymore. It's just a difference with heat. Just takes it out of me compared to the cold.
Yeah, what we see is people when they're shooting, that happens. Their brain goes to mush by the time afternoon runs around as well. So throw some water into you, get some food into you.
Yeah,
that's why we like to bring rain. We order it when we have our events.
Cools you off.
It does.
People are liquid cooled. This is external cooling coming down free. It's extra service.
I was thinking about offering us up as fundraisers. So we will come to your drought-stricken town, province, whatever. If you make a donation project Maple Seed, and we'll pretty much guarantee get rain.
Got a dust bowl going on. We'll go do a weekend shoot there. Taken care of.
Okay.
All right. Listener feedback. Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, Cerakote, cold bluing, rust bluing, all kinds of bluing, as well as wood refinishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearms, accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca.
Yay!
I'll read this first one from Josh, because he's probably talking about you. From Josh. If this is the same Josh, I don't know.
Yeah, it is the same Josh.
Okay. I just had to share this as I was impressed by this customer service. I will be telling everyone about this one. I recently purchased a Ruger PC9 rifle. I also purchased a muzzle brake from a retailer made by M Carbo. Followed all the instructions online exactly. There's a crush washer that goes on before the muzzle brake. I wrapped the muzzle brake in masking tape, used a 316 wrench as instructed. As I was tightening and before the crushing was even close to crushed, the muzzle brake jumped the threads. I contacted the dealer, Bullseye London, that sold me the M Carbo as I thought it was the brake that was stripped. They were amazing and shipped me a new one. I would have bought from my local dealer, but they didn't have any stock. I installed that one and the same thing happened, but this time it was just from hand tightening. I had very little pressure applied when it happened initially. I was shocked that the threads could let go so easily. I emailed Ruger, who directed me to the Canadian Warranty Center in Quebec. They asked me to ship the firearm to inspect it. They had just never seen this happen before. They asked that I send pictures first so that they could see if it was essential I send them the firearm. Life got in the way and I didn't send the pictures for a week. Then out of the blue, I received another email from Ruger saying, hey, we've reviewed your messages and as a gesture of goodwill, we'll order a replacement forend and barrel assembly. The forend and barrel assembly will be marked for your attention and sent to our Canadian Repair Center. Location snapshots, who will forward it on to you. The repair center has the necessary import-export licenses for this transaction. Delivery should take 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't believe it. I thought I would have to pay to have the barrel rethreaded. That is customer service. I am a Ruger guy for life. Anyways, pass this on as this type of service is hard to find anymore. Well done, Ruger, Bullseye London, and Snapshots. Well done, Josh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Ruger is like good quality stuff. Like their stuff
Yeah,
is sometimes a little bit weird, sometimes a little bit out of the box, but like their quality and their customer service is generally pretty good.
Right. Bullseye London are awesome too. Just have to say. Some of my favorite people.
Yeah. Do you want to take email too?
Yeah, it's a really short one, so sure. Hi again. Have you guys heard anything about a pending ammunition shortage or drastic price increase, especially 223, 9mm, and 22? The U.S. podcasts seem to indicate that this is happening or is going to happen. Just wondering what your thoughts are.
I mean, it already happened.
It has.
The Canadian dollar took a crap 3 months ago, and the prices have increased since then. So previously, we would say there was deals of 223 where you could get it for $3.99 per thousand. Yeah. Those are gone. Not going to get like that anymore.
Some of the retailers here in Canada, some of them are offering some 223
for just $3.99 per thousand.
No, not
the lowest I saw, like the absolute best price I saw was $3.79 with like a $20
mail-in
rebate. Yeah, that was the best I saw, and I think that those, like, we're not going to see that for a while here.
22 is getting expensive, just letting you know.
I still see a bunch of that stuff for like fairly good price. It just depends where you get it from, because some people have like old stock, right?
Yeah.
If I look at 5.56, $4.99, 5.39, 4.59. 4.59 is the best price I see right now, so it's up a little bit. That's actually not that bad. And that 9mm stuff that I got, that Federal aluminum case stuff.
What did you think of that?
It's fine. I ran at my Shadow the other weekend, and it was it ran just fine.
Okay.
And it is what did I say I paid for that? $3.99 for 2,000.
Yep.
Something like that. $200 per thousand, runs fine. Before the price increase, I could get it for $3.79 for 2,000. Now it's $3.99. Or it was. I don't know what it's going for right now, but yeah. Just watch for deals. They still are coming in, and know your typical ammo prices, so that when you see a deal, you can jump on it and get a bunch of it.
Or reload.
Ugh.
Components are getting expensive too.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't see the point in putting the time in, unless you're running like a competition like IPSC or something like that, where you need to hit a particular power factor. And anything above that is detrimental to your performance. I just run to the factory stuff. It's just too cheap.
All right. Doug says that I've been to 4 Maple Seed events in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and all of them have had rain. So as you're due for rain in Lloydminster.
That Drumheller one had just a little bit. That one didn't have a lot of rain, did it? I don't remember a lot of rain. It was muddy though.
It was muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It did
normal.
have a little bit of rain. It wasn't
Mhm.
pouring. Poured the day before. Okay.
We've been getting so much rain here in Alberta that our 3-gun match, they couldn't use the 25 meter because it's just like a slough.
Swamp.
Yeah,
Awesome.
too swampy. If you'd like to send an email to the show, send your email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Patreon supporters, if you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/slamfireradio and support us there. It helps to pay for bandwidth and have a website up and then whatnot. And we will send you out a patch and sticker. If you haven't received a patch or sticker, email the show and be like, yo, Adro, what's going on? And I'll put it in the mail. Make sure you
Or,
include your address.
yeah, if you would love a lovely t-shirt, just let us know and we will be happy to mail you out one, right, Adriel?
Ah, but I gotta like that shipping on that is expensive. Like
Okay.
I can take the patch and the sticker and cheat and put them inside a regular envelope and be like, this fits totally in the mail slot, and it doesn't. And I just put it in the mail and it works every time. So I don't care about that one. It's like $1 to mail, but the t-shirt's like $15 to mail.
Or if you're living in Kingston, I can deliver you one.
Yes. If you're in the area, definitely we'll give you t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm going to Lloyd. I have to get a t-shirt to Lloyd.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. I'm going to message that person and see if I can't like drop it off their house or something. Put it in between the screen door and the
It's not going
regular
to be
door.
there.
Huh?
He's
I
not
know
gonna be
they're
there.
not going to be there. I don't care. Their house is going to be there. I will put a t-shirt in their backyard. It's going to rain on it, whatever. Delivered. I'm going to be like the Amazon person.
Put it in a nice box right on the front doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shout outs, Kelly.
I do have one. I want to give a shout out to Kelly Kincaid for hosting on Saturday night and all the ladies I went shooting with on Sunday. Fantastic time. Yay. It was lots of fun.
Yay.
Yay.
Shooting with friends. So good.
Yeah.
I want to
That's
do
it.
some more of that. Yeah.
You got any?
Yeah. Chad for coming on with pretty short notice and telling us about his bullpup versus traditional layout rifle kind of thoughts there.
I'd still like to see what happens if you know, ejection issues or double feed or whatever, something just catastrophic happens and how long it takes.
So like the thing is, like you'd be comparing it to a WK, and I think it would be just as bad because
you think so?
To lock the bolt back on this thing is kind of hard. If you had a double feed, it's easier if you've got this little doohickey on the side, but if you don't, you're just as screwed. One of the problems with a double feed is that the mag gets stuck in there too because the second round goes out and it doesn't want to like come out. So the thing to do is you rack it to the back and lock it open. How do you do that when there's no bolt hold open on this thing?
True.
So that would be harder. I don't know if anything else would be different. I know some of the bullpups, like the RDB, would be a mess. If you got a jam with the RDB because it ejects from the bottom here, it would be a disaster trying to fix that. And some of the other bullpups are disasters to try to do remedials on.
I know. That's why I asked. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tavor wouldn't be that. Well, it would be a little bit worse, but not that bad.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah. Anyways, thanks for coming on, Chad. That was very informative. Please join a National Firearms Association such as the CCFR. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. Like us on Facebook, and reach out to your city councilor now to talk about municipal handgun bans because they might be coming. I don't know. Trudeau seems kind of like distracted with a whole bunch of other stuff right now.
COVID.
Our budget for COVID that went from $270 billion to 350 overnight. Woo, that increase was something substantial, but I imagine they'll still put it in. They've, why not do it right now when people can't really protest about it and that kind of thing. So reach out to your city councilor, talk to them about municipal handgun bans, make sure they're on your side because otherwise this thing goes through and they ban your handguns, you're SOL. And predators like me end up buying your gun for like way less than it should be just because there's too many on the market.
Yeah. Oh, Edmonton. You never know. Nah, they won't try now.
Redmonton, I think is how you
Yeah.
pronounce it. Yeah, no, I think we're fine here for
Yeah.
a little while at least.
Hey, let's talk
we're-
off air because Kingston's not. So,
No,
anyways,
no.
I'm screwed.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.